And Reveille X,
He's chill.
Reveille 10 is
And
the
again,
first
Kirk
lady of
Herbstreit is here.
Aggieland, is the dog.
Oh.
Heard she was hot to trot.
Like I saw her,
Heard she was hot to trot. That tail was wagging. Ben comes around. You know, it was cool. I really enjoyed Ben. So whenever I saw that there was people that didn't, I'm like, hey Ben, just rules. You can hate Kirk for whatever reason you want.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you hate Ben, you really need to look in the mirror.
That's what I think.
That's a hard thing to do.
I didn't even know that existed. That had to be fake accounts out there. All right, let's move along here, talk college ball. And it's great to see Ben, who had a battle this offseason. Ben had a battle this offseason.
Yeah, leukemia. Is on chemo. Had surgery, big surgery. They took a couple masses off, took his spleen out, took a big mass off of his intestine. So I didn't know if he'd survive it. You know, at 10, that's a pretty tough procedure. Took him up to Ohio State, where they do an amazing job with their veterinary school. And man, this happened, by the way, mid-July, like late July.
Jeez.
And I mean, he was down and out. In fact, I was pretty much with, he's not going to be able to go out on the road. And then the last 2 or 3 weeks, he's kind of come around. And I'm telling you, dude, as much as he feeds us, like you're right, he lights up a room, tail's constantly wagging. I think he feeds off of being out there. Like, it's incredible just to see his personality and his energy when he gets out there, and loves to say hi to the people and walks into a tailgate. You got any ham sandwiches? Like, he just walks randomly on his
Legitimately. And then he's welcomed everywhere. Obviously, you're not just going to say no to that beautiful of a dog, especially with how cool he is. And Ben's a dog. So we knew he was going to be okay at the age of 10. Excited he's back on the road. Let's talk about a team that might be filled with some dogs. Head coach getting into it a little bit, walking into the stadium. Go ahead, Con Man.
I mean, those people tweeting about Ben, how you feel now. Guy had cancer and survived, so you're even a bigger asshole. But yeah, Kirby, Notre Dame, there's a video of Marcus Freeman kind of getting the boys going before the game. How do you feel about their performance? Obviously, on offense, kind of took a little while to figure it out, but that seems to be something that they're going to continue to grow with the young offensive line in Riley Leonard. But is this the year for Notre Dame? Are we looking at a possible 5 seed because that's as high as they can go without the conference?
Dude, I appreciate you going there because, man, I walked out of there. I'm glad you brought him up. I forgot to bring him up. I love that. I love that.
Me too.
AJ knows him better than anybody. Played with James Laurinaitis, part of the Ohio State linebacking crew that was fantastic. Wayne Warrior. But he is an absolute... I don't know if there's another coach that relates to the players better, genuinely, authentically, than Marcus Freeman. And, you know, he's got Jim Tressel, you know, and his style and playing for him. You know, he even told me before the game, hey, a punt's okay. You know, we're breaking in a freshman left tackle. You know, we got some new people up there. And then he's like, look at right in the fourth quarter. I told you, like he told his guys, we're going to find a way to win this thing in the fourth quarter. They're only going to get better with Riley Leonard at quarterback. And that offensive line is so young when they come together. I like the skill. When they just, you know how when you look at when a team comes on the field, Pat, you're big on that. Like, wow, TCU, they're big. Like Notre Dame, through recruiting, through the portal, they look so different than where they were a few years ago. They used to always have big linemen, big tight ends, big D linemen, big linebackers. And their skill, it just looks different. They're long, they're bouncing, athletic guys. You look at their schedule, it's probably going to be favored in every game they play. The game at the end of the year, all of a sudden, with USC at the LA Coliseum, interesting game to remember and to put on the back of your mind. But Notre Dame is, I think they're mature. They got a great group together. I think they're a team that's going to be in the playoff without a doubt. It's just a matter of how much better can they get,
Kirk Herbstreit
can
is
they stay healthy,
here.
because I don't know what kind of depth they have right now.
Massive win in College Station in front of that crowd, obviously showing up, big nights, everything. That's a huge win. However it pans out. Was he like that as a player, AJ? And he wasn't like this last year, right?
I don't know. Was he that way? Was he that way as a player?
He's pretty reserved. He was a freshman my senior year, but Marcus was pretty reserved. But I mean, I watched him in high school. As Kurt said, he's a Wayne Warrior. I watched Marcus score 6 touchdowns and punt and kick and return kickoffs and do everything. So yeah, he was all over the place. He's a monster. But yeah, getting that
That's authentic. That's not like a thing. No one told him, hey, go pump the boys up.
Well, it's like he's comfortable being himself now. It seems, you know, like that job is not the easiest role. Like being a Notre Dame head coach, that is not an easy, especially after what last year we go up there and I experienced it for the first time. And I'm talking to Pete Bavacqua, who's the athletic director, and getting a tour of the history and what it is and where his office is and why his office is located where his office is in Notre Dame and everything it is. That's not an easy gig, being a Notre Dame head coach. So
that's your first head job. You're the head coach at Notre Dame.
Couldn't even fathom the pressure.
That's as tough an ask in the college game as there is. But I'll tell you what's great is he's being himself, like you said. But when you talk to him, hopefully we do a Notre Dame game day because I'd love for you two to hang out. You talk to him, you become a bigger fan.
Oh yeah,
way bigger fan. I mean, he is as good of a guy as there is, and it's no wonder they're recruiting well. The program's doing this with him. I mean, they're just beginning, in my opinion, of where they're going with him as a head coach.
Shane Gillis said he would like us to refer to them as Tight End University a little bit more.
They're not, though.
Who is?
Iowa is, period.
Go ahead. He said, no, start listing them off. This is at a bar in College Station that we paid $400 for to let nobody in so we can have one beer with each other without, you know, and then kind of go through there. He goes, list them off.
Yeah, Anthony Fasano, you know, Kyle Rudolph. I mean, Iowa's got
Eifert, and then I guess there's a guy now that they got, some Mitchell Evans.
Mitchell Evans.
Mitchell Evans who got hurt last year. He goes, best tight end in the country, dude. Last year gets hurt. Everybody forgets he exists.
I mean, are we talking about guys being good in college, or are we talking about guys who go on to be like all pros in the NFL? Because I think that's, you know, they're developed at the college level.
So Shane was taking a direct shot at Iowa.
It sounds like it.
Okay. All right. Anyways, Notre Dame Tight End University.
Hey. I will put some points on the board, all right?
Hey, who was not on the sideline?
You guys are the ones that do that. I don't.
Whoa. Kirk's back next week. Let's go. Kirk's back next week. Can't wait to watch. And obviously that team could. No, why not?
Why not?
Why not Iowa?
Why not?
Let's talk about another team we're saying why not to. And you bring up Marcus Freeman. I didn't see any videos from the locker room while he was giving a speech afterwards, but I do know that a very Miami thing happened this past weekend where there was a recording live of the coach afterwards talking his shit in Cristobal, who has taken it on the shins a lot since he decided to run the ball instead of kneel it out. So I'm assuming he's pumped about it. D-Bot has a question for you about the state of the U.
Absolutely. If you're talking about tight ends going on to be great in the NFL, tight end U is probably University of Miami for sure. Because obviously, Cam Ward, he come in as advertised. I mean, just composed, just the aura around him. The hype is real down in South Florida. You mentioned it earlier, we've been waiting for a quarterback for a long, long time. But what's the expectation, outlook? I know you said you like to kind of wait a few weeks. But after seeing them going into the swamp, hostile environment, obviously not much expectation from the Gators this year. But what do you see around Cam Ward and that roster and why they can make a run this year?
So we're going we, huh? Okay. I didn't know you kicked it.
He does this.
Huskies are we in hoops.
Oh, wait, hey, I'm a Husky through and through, but you know, I grew up.
All right.
He does.
Especially in basketball, yes.
He's got a lot of teams.
Hey, the thing with the video, come on. Like, the only thing I feel like can slow Miami down right now is themselves. Like, just don't have that guy or whoever's in the background. Like, you don't want that. I mean, coach is up there. He's saying what's up and, like, basically, like, you know, saying what he thinks about his critics and the Gators. And we got somebody back there filming. Like, really? I mean, you can't do that. You know, like, this team, hopefully that gets nipped in the bud. I think Mario will probably be more offended than anybody. But this team seems to have, you know, when Miami, it's always about, the swag's back. I didn't feel that at all. I felt like the sledgehammer is back. Like, I just felt like they went out there and whipped ass. It wasn't about talking trash. It was now maybe the post game talking to the recruits. I saw that, but during the game, I just felt like they were just beating Florida up and enjoying it. Like, that's kind of a characteristic of Mario Cristobal. So remember, it used to be about the turnover chain and whatever else they're doing. It just seemed like they were playing old-fashioned football and just beating up on an opponent, and I find that refreshing. I hope they stay in that space as they get all the pats on the back and told how wonderful they are. I hope they'll just stay angry. If they stay angry with Cam Ward And by the way, Damian Martinez has as much to do with as anything. Let's not forget having him back there with Cam Ward. But if they can stay angry and not start worrying about all this stuff, they will be a blast to watch this year.
Cam Ward being that veteran, like the guy he is, I think is a huge asset to the entire program.
Totally.
Cristobal had to be so happy whenever, obviously, transfer portal happens. Then he gets him. Then he sees the way he operates. He's got to be like, "Holy shit! I've been waiting. This is it now. This is the moment." I hope they go on a run because that ACC pretty wide open.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go back.
Wide open.
Pretty wide open. Let's go back to the Big Ten. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Kirk, do you think Oregon is one of those teams you're talking about where it's like, hey, reserve judgment for a couple weeks with Dylan Gabriel just getting there? Or do you think after watching this first week in the Big Ten, teams like Penn State and USC might be a little bit closer to the Ohio State and Oregon's in the conference?
You know, I look at Oregon, you know, it's a team that I picked preseason to win it all. And I you know, when I talk to Coach Saban about it and others, a lot of people are worried about how Oregon is going to stack up throughout the entire season of the Big Ten physically. Again, at the line of scrimmage. They know about Dylan, they know about the receivers and all that. But can they week in and week out deal with the physicality? I think they can, and I think getting off to a slow start, I think sometimes actually can help you. You know, I have NC State this week. They didn't look really good against Western Carolina, and everyone's like, "Oh, Tennessee's going to kill them." Like those are the games I'd be careful with. Don't just assume because a team looks okay against a lesser opponent that that's who they are. I think sometimes it shows maybe that they need to not come down to an opponent. But I think I'm not questioning Oregon. I'm more impressed with USC. USC's schedule, if it's not the toughest in the country, think about they joined the Big Ten, and then for fun, they throw LSU at the beginning and Notre Dame at the end, on top of being in the Big Ten with the travel and everything that they have to do with. So I think USC stock up, Penn State stock up, reserving judgment on who this Oregon team really is until they play an opponent that we can like actually judge them off how good they might be.
Yeah, it might take them a little bit to find their groove too. You know, teams do that. That happens. Look at Alabama last year with Jalen and Milroe at the beginning of the season versus the end of the season. Could happen with Oregon, especially with Dylan Gabriel. Go ahead, pal.
Did you see Miller Moss bringing a little bit of juice on that game? I didn't know he had that in him.
Santa Monica kid too. He did an interview afterwards. I listened to him talk. Love this dude.
Yeah.
Love everything
Very
about him.
impressed.
Yeah, and
Yeah, that was really cool to see. Like, I mean, he was bringing some fire. And how about them? Lincoln Riley reminded America, you know, especially Paul Feinbaum, who I guess has taken some shots on him. Like, he reminded America he's a pretty good coach. And I'll say this, Caleb Williams is awesome. Good luck in Chicago. Going to do great things. But a coach likes to call plays, to sequence plays, because he knows what his quarterback's going to do. And because Caleb and the theatrics and the ability to make plays, and it was great, it's so tough on a play caller to try to get into a rhythm when Caleb is doing some magic. With Miller Moss, it's like, okay, we're going to run the counter. We're going to set that play action. We're going to run counter. We're going to hit that. You know, it's just, it pieces together. And it just, I think it was a reminder of how good Lincoln Riley is with a quarterback like Miller Moss. And that's something to really watch as this season progresses, is that relationship with the headphones, with Lincoln Riley, Miller Moss, and what a catch, and the receivers and the skill that they have to work with. That's insane by Hudson. That's catch of the year.
Yeah, that's one of. There's like 5 of them. I think it's going to happen every single week in this entire thing. And what you're referring to is very similar to the situation in Green Bay whenever Aaron left, and then Jordan
Great
Love's
point.
running LaFleur's offense. LaFleur wouldn't say it publicly,
100%.
but like everybody was like, now LaFleur's offense is like system, as opposed to Aaron making every play.
Improvising, making plays. just
Every
being
play better
Aaron.
almost. Like Caleb was doing, like, I'll make every play better, but then it's like also you miss out on like the little moves in chess that you're kind of doing.
Yep.
Just 2 different styles. Would always
Yep.
want a superstar.
Yep.
Always would want a superstar. But
For
if you
sure.
get a guy that can operate your system, especially if it's Lincoln's system, you're probably very eager to do that as
Yeah,
well.
with Lincoln there, the offense is never going to be the issue, but the defense, I felt like show. Because on the other side, Newsmeyer and those receivers are making plays too. But Coach Lynn coming over from UCLA and that defense to start out like they did, arrow definitely up on USC.
Danton?
Yeah.
Danton Lynn, right?
Anton Land, getting it done, man.
Top 15.
Came over from UCLA, played at Penn State, coached with Rex Ryan. He's been around Gus Bradley. He told me that with Rex Ryan, he learned about how multiple you can be, of being aggressive. Gus Bradley is more about teaching and understanding, and he kind of has that personality. He's more of a Gus Bradley type as far as his approach. But man, if that's what he has to work with, and that's the beginning, a lot of us were excited. Now here's a quick thing: when USC the last couple of years, they were slanting and angling defense, and that either takes you into plays or it takes you out of plays. And so it was a feast or famine, and a lot of famine, and a lot of that didn't work. Now they're going back to just boom. They got bigger. Now they've gotten back to just taking that offensive line on, and it frees up those backers to get downhill and really frees them up to be able to make a lot of plays. So they're more aggressive, more physical, and I think now more confident because of that win, but buying into this new system of Danton Lynn's.
Yeah, congratulations to USC if they got it, because the defense was always the issue.
Yeah.
That was always the issue. So if they can figure it out, that's fantastic. Now let's look at this weekend. Last question here from Tone, who is an AP voter for the NFL awards this year. Tone Diggs.
Wow.
AP Tone, baby.
Friday, before any of these games were played, Texas was a 3.5-point favorite going into Michigan this weekend. After these games were played, Texas handled Colorado State very, very easily. Michigan, there's some big questions there, Kirk, at the quarterback position on the offensive side. Even the offensive line. They are now 7.5-point favorites. Texas are in Michigan. What were your takeaways from those two teams this weekend? And then this weekend, how do you think that's going to go?
I mean, Texas, again, when you play a team that you're supposed to beat and you show up and you do it, that to me is a mark of a mature team and a team that's on a mission. They're locked in, listening, and ready to go. They're not, I always get worried about teams that we talked about earlier. They come up when they're playing a good opponent, and then they come down a little bit when they're playing a team they're supposed to beat. Texas did what you're supposed to do when you play a team that you're better. I mean, you could see, they could have done whatever they wanted. Arch Manning, a little improvisation here, nice play, a little dance on the sideline. Yeah. Nice to see that. Quinn Ewers, that whole team. Sark's got these guys rolling as they get ready for the SEC. When I say rolling, not Colorado State, rolling as far as the program as a whole. He'll have them welcoming the challenge of going into the big house. Michigan, of course, it's easy to jump to conclusions about how they played. That was not the game that I think we all envisioned. The offense, not quite in rhythm. Think back when J.J. McCarthy was that quarterback. What did they do? We all want to focus on quarterback. To me, Michigan was a line of scrimmage team. They ran the football with Blake Corum, and they put J.J. McCarthy in favorable play action situations. They were not able to do that in this game. So the last drive of the game against Fresno looked like Michigan football. Ran the ball, play action, got the tight end involved. And I'm not making excuses for them, but I could see them looking to Texas, even though they're not taught to do that. It's just human nature. You have such a massive game. Sometimes it's hard to take that team serious. I'm not quoting Sharon Moore there, but I just feel like
as a college football analyst, we've seen it. Yeah.
I just, you know what I mean? It looked like that. They didn't look like themselves. I think they'll play much better with much more enthusiasm on Saturday. And I think they got a shot if they can get that run game going.
I can't wait to get there. I can't thank you enough for being so welcoming. And shout out to Coach Saban. I think he's going to do a little dancing this weekend.
Hell yeah.
He's going to do a little dancing.
You got that headlock shot with your shirt off?
I mean, we had 45 seconds until the end of the show. I mean, that's too much time. That's way too much time.
Let me clear one thing up for the internet.
Oh no.
And some people have had some fun saying, look at, they showed you dancing, then they showed Nick Saban with kind of that look from the sidelines look.
Yeah, right here, yeah. Side-eye.
Look, there's a happy guy. Oh boy. There's a happy guy.
Yeah, dancing.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
That could not be anything further than the truth.
No.
Nick Saban, he would obviously love to be on the sideline. You can't replace coaching. I don't know if I've seen a guy have more fun than Nick Saban is having right now in college game day.
In the production meetings, all of it.
He is owning it. He's involved. He's loving it. I think he feels his big concern when he retired is it's the first time I haven't been part of a team. And I think he feels like he's part of a team. Don't take that little video out of context. He loves Pat. I think he loves the show. I think he's having it's a 10 out of 10, if not a 12 out of 10, 2 weeks into this with Coach Saban. And I don't know about you, the kick last week, I got killed. I mean,
where are we going with this? And I look up.
How did the bite
didn't turn over one time. I think
Crazy.
spiraled. That son of a good kick out of the kid Colin. I appreciated him. Or Lucas, shit, you get it. You get it. This kid was cool. I
Look at
appreciated
that.
it. Yeah, just
And then it's just pandemonium. I'm buried. I thought I was going down. I mean,
good call by Stanford Steve with a sweet hat.
Yeah.
Appreciate him buying in, Shane being there. That kid was awesome. That's why, you give him an extra shot. Him at the beginning saying kicking's so easy, doing his shit. He didn't want to say that. I just said, like, hey, it's a lot easier if you say bad things about kickers, so we can say things. You got it, man. He was just pumped to be there. He wins 50
look
grand.
at how ugly that kick is.
Doesn't matter.
Good
Doesn't
sport.
matter.
Yeah.
Good to him. We'll continue that. Kirk, we appreciate you, brother. Ladies and gentlemen,
See
Kirk
ya.
Herbstreit. Hey, as we go to break here on ESPN, I need to tell you that you can use the QR code that has been shown here to go to Dude Wipe Stop the Street contest and potentially win $100,000. If the Browns are able to return a touchdown this year for the first time in 14 years, somebody will win $100,000. Scan the code. You can join us. Dude Wipes is the greatest. Right on. I mean, right.
Well done.
It ain't my dad's